Here's what's remarkable about Philippians 2. While it certainly teaches the deity and pre-existence of the Lord Jesus Christ, it doesn't do so in the sense of trying to inculcate this belief. That is, the apostle is not trying to introduce this idea and persuade the Philippians of its truthfulness. Rather, the entire thing is taken for granted. The apostle takes for granted this notion about Christ, this group of ideas, namely that Christ is an eternal divine person who has existed with the Father, condescended to enter into the world, and then was exalted back to the right hand of the Father. This is not something the apostle's trying to prove as though it was not already part of the deposit of faith that these Philippians were instructed in and were clinging to. Rather, the apostles bringing in what they knew to be the case in order to impel them to Christian service. In verses 1 through 4, the apostle is exhorting them to set aside selfishness and empty conceit, and in humility of mind to regard one another as more important than themselves. The apostle says, don't merely look out for your own interests, but also for the interests of others. And so Paul is teaching humility. He's teaching people to set aside their own interests, their own assumed prerogatives, their own rights in order to serve others. And then he brings in as his primary example, his chief exhibit, the Lord Jesus Christ, who, although existing in the form of God, did not consider equality with God something to be used to his own advantage or something to be exploited, but humbled himself, taking the form of a servant and being made in the likeness of men. And being found in appearance as a man, Paul says, he humbled himself by becoming obedient to the point of death, even death on a cross. And then he goes on to say, for that reason, he was highly exalted, that is, in our nature. He was hyper exalted back to where he was before, prior to taking on our likeness, being found in appearance as a man, and was identified, acknowledged openly, publicly, visibly as Lord, the one to whom the name properly belongs, the one before whom all knees in heaven, on earth, and under the earth are properly going to bow.